called the LinkedIn Optimization ebook. So what I want to do is help you to optimize your LinkedIn profile, turn it into a landing page, okay? Because what we need to do is, whether you're in a career transition or whether you're an entrepreneur or business owner, if you're over there on LinkedIn, actually just put LinkedIn in the chat if that's you. If you're on LinkedIn, okay, we need to optimize your profile. That way, the eyeballs that land on it, we can convert those into conversations, careers, and cash flow, okay? All right, we need to convert it. So that's what we do. I have a LinkedIn optimization ebook. It's a simple step-by-step guide. It's free 99. You can grab that. The link is up above or in the description. You can grab that. The second thing that I have for you guys today, if you are one of those folks that are in a career transition or thinking about pivoting or making a transition in your career, and a lot of people are changing jobs all the time, okay? If that's you, right, you know how hard it is when you're out there applying online and your application just goes in the black hole, okay? And you don't hear anything back. You're getting ghosted by employers, okay? The human element has been stripped from the employment process, right? The hiring process has been, the human element's been stripped, okay? So I'm going to show you how to put the human element back in, okay? How to rehumanize the job search process, how to connect with employers, how to network effectively. Right? You say that word network. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Okay. But a lot of people don't know how to network effectively. How do you get the attention of those decision makers, and how do you close the deal, most importantly? Okay. So I'm going to teach you all of these things inside of my Career Transition Summit. Okay. The link is, again, it's up above. It's free. It takes about an hour to go through that thing. And I promise you're going to get some results. That's what it's all about. Okay. I want to give a few shout outs. I see we got a whole room full of people. We got Rihanna, we got Mary Lynn, we got Kimberly. Good to see you. Cameron, hello. Tisha, we got Chima, good to see you. Tisha, April. Who do we got over here on LinkedIn and YouTube and all these other channels? It's good to see you. Good morning. But let me go ahead and reset the room here. Let's rock. Let's roll. Let's go. Cash flow. Well, good morning. My name is Trevor Houston, and this is Breakfast with Champions, the Millionaire Breakfast Club. And whether you're joining us live or tuning in on the Who You Know Show podcast, this is your opportunity to get a seat at the table with those going the places you know you can go and doing the things you know you can do. Now, we don't see this clubhouse divider with a stage on top and an audience down below. No. Instead, we look at this as the world's largest breakfast table. It's full of motivation, education, inspiration, and even a friendly competition with the positive intention of pushing your momentum in the right direction. Now, listen, if you ever miss a segment, you can go download the Who You Know Show podcast, subscribe, and listen anytime. So head on over to whoyouknow.show, grab the link, and subscribe. Well, good morning. Super excited. Today is going to be an awesome episode. I brought another world changer for you guys today. Somebody's doing big things, okay? Doing some big things. But before we get to our guest today, I have an announcement and a celebration. Today is actually our 6th year anniversary of the Who You Know Show. And I'm super pumped and excited about this episode, because this guy's out here doing some big things. And what a way to bring in our 6th year anniversary with my man, Damon Lembi. Now, let me give you a little intro, okay, to Damon. Today we're gonna dive into the world of leadership, learning, and personal development with Damon Lembi. He's a seasoned leader with nearly 3 decades of experience at the helm of Learnit, a prominent learning and development company. Damon brings a unique perspective, having transitioned from a career in baseball to becoming a distinguished business leader and author. Today, we're going to explore some key themes from Damon's best-selling book, The Learn It All Leader: Mindset, Traits, and Tools, and uncover insights into what distinguishes great leaders from the rest. So, Damon, I'm super excited to have you here with us today. My first question for you, we just talked about, well, thank you. Absolutely. 6-year anniversary. And I can't think of a better person to bring on the stage, man. We appreciate you.
Like I told you backstage, I mean, 6 years, it just shows, the consistency and the grit that went with it. So congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been through some things. Let's just put it that way. You go through some things. I was telling you backstage, we actually had an experience. The first 2.5 years of content, we actually ended up losing because the studio we were using prior to the pandemic, they actually went out of business during the pandemic, and they had control of our content. We actually ended up losing 2.5 years of content. But you know what? You live, you learn, and you move forward.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, but that's cool, man. I appreciate you again being here. My first question I wanted to dive into is your career in baseball, right? You transitioned from that to becoming a leader and learning and developing and developing people. So how has your athletic background shaped your approach to leadership and training? I'm sure there's some things that you took from that experience, your athletic career. Tell me about that.
Well, I would say most of my leadership style and what I've learned has been shaped from my baseball career. A quick background on that is, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. I was fortunate to be with a group of friends who loved playing sports. Football season, we were all about the Niners, 49ers, basketball is the Warriors, and then baseball. By high school, I realized that if I had a chance to play in college moving forward, it was in baseball. And I was lucky enough, I got drafted by the Atlanta Braves. I'm dating myself, Trevor, but in the 1990 draft. And I had a choice. Do I want to go to the minor leagues or take a full scholarship to Pepperdine? I ended up going to Pepperdine. I think it was just I was a young kid. Otherwise, I would have been on the same team with Chipper Jones in rookie ball. That was really my first experience of leadership. The coach that we had there, Andy Lopez, this is Pepperdine's a small Division I school. And he went out, Trevor, and said, we're going to win the World Series. A lot of people are like, how is Pepperdine going to win the World Series and beat these huge, schools like LSU? And, I personally got hurt and ended up leaving. But the very next year, Pepperdine won the College World Series. And that was a great lesson, to answer one of your questions, about setting a clear vision and really believing in that vision and getting everybody behind it. I ended up at Arizona State, got to play in the College World Series there. And, I was looking forward to my next opportunity to get drafted again and move on. That didn't happen. And I was kind of, I was 22 years old, and I was at the crossroads. Like, what am I going to do next in my career? And you kind of lose your identity for a while, because I only saw myself as a baseball player. And as I was listening to you speak to some of the individuals who are going through career transitions, or they need to reinvent themselves.
Yes.
That's really what I was going through. And never in my life did I think that I would end up in the learning and development world.
Well, can I lean into that for just a second?
Yes.
Okay, because that's actually why a big reason why I do what I do, helping the career transition community. Okay, is in 08-09, if you remember what happened back then, we had the recession, right? The Great Recession. And I was at that point in my life, I was in my early 20s, and I was actually selling Harley Davidsons. Okay.
That's great.
And yeah, it was a cool job, man. When you're in your early 20s and you're slanging metal like that, okay, Harley Davidson, it was such a cool job. And like I put my identity in the bar and shield, okay, in that logo. And I remember just like living and breathing Harley, it was so cool. And well, guess what you think happens during the recession? It's a luxury motorcycle. Do you think many people were buying a luxury, recreational vehicle?
No, people cut back. They had to cut back.
Absolutely. And so they cut back. And so guess what? They cut me. All right. And, I got let go. And man, I was crushed. And, I remember all the fear and anxiety and stress that I had going through that moment when I'm watching my bank account go negative. I didn't handle it very well, to be frank with you. I started drinking too much. I mean, I was depressed. And fast forward years later, I found a group, walked into this church, and there was like 100 senior level executives. okay, that were in transition. And you could feel that same energy, that depression, anxiety, fear, stress, right? You could see it and feel it. And I just knew I had to give back and had to support and help and serve that community. And so I can relate to what you're talking about when you're like, man, you know, you thought you were going to go a certain direction, and life just hands you a different deck of cards, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always thought, at the point was I was all league, and I thought you get to continue to play until you get to a level where you can't compete anymore. And of course, I could have walked on and things like that, but I learned life doesn't always work exactly as you wanted it to.
Yeah.
And so here I was 22 years old, and fortunate that I come from a family who had multiple businesses, a really successful real estate company and hotel chain and everything. But really, Trevor, I didn't think I had any skills. I'm like, well, I've never really had a job before. So I started as a receptionist at this little corporate trading company. And I started there, and I learned that I wanted to be able to be great at something else besides just baseball. And at the time, I wasn't sure if my skills were transferable. But what I learned, and this is, I think it's important, it's like I just outworked everybody. I worked harder, and I got mentors, and I wanted to prove that, first of all, I belonged at that company. It wasn't just like, oh, this is my dad's business and he stuck me there, and so, fast forward, I'd say 7 years, and I went from teaching classes and how to Microsoft Excel to sales and trying things and failing and enjoying it, being fully committed, really. When they were looking for a new CEO, and this is even before, this isn't about 2000, 2001, right before the dot-com bust. For those of you who remember, I threw my hat in the ring to be asked to be CEO. And they said, well, why should we go with you, the board? And I said, I'm passionate about Learnit. I've taught classes. I understand what we need. I was given the opportunity. And then and things went well for about 6 months. And then, everything fell off, talk about learning lessons. The economy crashed, but we worked our way through it. And the past 29 years have been a bunch of, done some great things and made some big mistakes. And I'm really proud to say that we've trained over 1.9 million individuals.
Dang, hold up.
In the 30 years.
That's impact. Okay. That's impact. Because those people, I'm sure, right, are impacting other people as well. So if you've helped 1.9, there's this ripple effect of what you're doing, man. That's incredible.
And that I'm super proud of that. What I'm really most proud of, though, is to be able to surround myself and build great teams over the years. And how we've been able to do that. We're headquartered in the San Francisco Bay Area, so it's very difficult to compete with places like Salesforce and Google and Facebook. But I would tend to hire individuals who were early on in their career, and I'd really hire for potential over experience, but look for individuals who had that grit, they had that work ethic, and really, and I know you talk a lot about this on your show, but really we're into learning and continuous growth. And those are all things that I really learned playing baseball. In baseball, you're always kind of adjusting, and you have to have learning agility, and you got to have discipline and show up on time. And so those are all a lot of the skills that I learned playing baseball that has landed me in the position I am today, 29 years later.
Let's lean into what you just said about potential over experience for just a second. Okay. I want to kind of dig into this. Because, a lot of the, and I love that potential over experience, but a lot of the folks that I serve, again, that senior level executive, right? That guy that's worked, 20 years at the company, whatever, worked his way up. He's got a lot of experience, right? So speak into that, because they both have a lot of value.
Yes.
Right. That seasoned vet with 20 years experience, he knows where the landmines are, and he can show you, hey, don't walk over there. You can blow yourself up if you do that. He's got that wisdom. But then the potential, that's the guy that's the up and comer. That's the guy with the heart and the grit. He's going to do what it takes. Right. It's like, what's more valuable? And you're saying potential over experience. Lean into that a little bit.
So not for every position. So for instance, let's say you're a $5 million business and you want to get to 50 million. Well, your director of operations may not be the right person to get you to the next level. And you may need to go out and hire somebody else. And that's another thing I talk a lot about, not to get off subject, but, team over family. I think organization, your team, not a family. But getting back to potential over experience, why I believe that's important is I like to hire and look for individuals who are in line with Learnit's core values. And we value lifelong learning. We value people who want to embrace change, people who take ownership, who put the customer first, and, who have a growth mindset, grit, let's say. And, are you familiar with that? There's a great story out there that I've told 1,000 times. It's about Southwest in your backyard. And Herb Keller, way back in the beginning, where Southwest almost went out of business, he sat down and he went to his board and his executives, and he said, what we're going to do is we're going to be the no frills airline. We're going to drop our prices and not serve a bunch of food. And people raised their hand and they said, there's no way we can offer these low of fares. That's impossible. The only way we could do that is we'd have to make the turnaround down to like 12 minutes. And that's not industry standard. That can't be done. Industry standard is about 16, 17 minutes. If we're going to be able to do that, we're going to have to go out to Continental and Eastern Airlines and hire the best of the best crew. And Herb's like, we're going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to go out and find hungry young individuals who are eager and willing to learn, and tell them that this is what we're going to do. And that's what they came up with the story, the 10-minute turn, where they got it from 16 minutes down to 10. Because sometimes, if people don't know any better and they have the passion or the commitment to want to do something, you can get it done. And that's
okay, no. Let's dive into that. I like that. Okay, because if it was an experienced person, right, they're gonna say, "Nah, man, can't be done." That's not even like we can't go there, right? So, but the potential that, again, that person that's striving to come up in the world, he's gonna say, "Let's do what it takes to get it done." So, I think the right mixture for anyone listening to this, right? Like if you are one of those senior level executives that I'm talking about, you know who you are. I help you guys all the time. Okay. And listen, one of the reasons why these companies, I hate to say it, but there's age discrimination, and they discriminate against that experience is for one of these reasons we're talking about right here. It's a resistor of new ideas. In that example, the experience loses because they're saying, no, it's not possible. You can't do it. Right. And they're going to hire somebody that says, no, I'll get it done. I'm the one. I'll do it. I'll get it done. Right. And so if you can marry your experience with the excitement and energy of that young potential, okay, always be open to ideas, right, and show the employer that you're capable to do that, man. I think you got a winning combination. You got the potential and the experience. Boy, let's go.
Now here's one thing I want to say, because I'm totally against ageism, right?
Sure, me too.
And I'm 100% against that.
Me too.
And a resume comes in, you see this person's been working since the 80s. Now there are individuals who maybe have been an accountant their whole life, or maybe they've been in the HR world and now they want to get into sales. So there's no saying that those individuals can't come in with a fresh mind and fresh perspective either. And for all those out there who actually lead a team and are hiring, please don't disregard individuals who my age bracket or more, because they bring a wealth of knowledge. And to me, diversity really is, it's all across the board. It could be men, women, different races, but it's also surround yourself with great talent, and great talent includes diversity, which is people of different generations with different perspectives.
Yep.
So you can still hire for potential for
100%.
individuals who don't have 10 years of sales experience.
100%. And you know, when it comes to the age discrimination, I like, this is one of the things I lean into with my audience all the time, trying to teach them, hey, listen, we got to overcome the objections before they come out. Because really, when you're discriminating, right, they just have a bias against you based off of a stereotype. Okay. Now, stereotypes, here's my belief on stereotypes. Stereotypes are based in truth, but they are not the truth. Okay. Right. Meaning there are some commonalities that they see. And what are those commonalities? So an older worker might be slow to adapt. Okay. They might not be great with technology. They may be a resistor of ideas, right? Like there's some of these negative stereotypes. Maybe they're more expensive because they've earned that experience, right? And they've moved their way up the ladder. So these are some of the objections that the employer is thinking about, and they are judging you based off a stereotype. So what you need to do as a job seeker, if that's you, we need to overcome all of that stuff I just talked about.
And anticipate it.
Yeah, you already know what they're thinking about you. So if you can show them that, hey, I am quick to adapt. I love new, fresh ideas and perspectives. Like I'm not going to, be the most, now you want to get what you're worth, obviously, but what you're asking for, is it aligned for the market value of that position? If it's not aligned with it, then you're wasting your time. But anyways, ageism does exist. It's a real thing. And it's unfortunate that they don't really give people the opportunity to show if they can overcome those objections or not. Right.
Right. And I agree. And if you get an opportunity in an interview or in a letter that you're reaching out to people, share with them in the story some of the areas you just spoke about. Share with ideas, stories of how you've overcome change and you have adapted, and how your experience could bring value. So connect it to what they're looking for.
Absolutely. Well, I want to switch gears just a little bit. Okay. Your book, best-selling book, Learn It All Leader. Okay.
Right.
Now this book emphasizes, being a learn it all and not a know it all. Right. Can you explain why adopting this mindset is crucial? Is it kind of similar to what we were just talking about? The learn it all still kind of like hungry for knowledge. The know it all has all the experience and the knowledge, and they're not open. I mean, talk to me more about that and tell us about the book and what readers can expect from it.
Sure. Yeah. Let's start with the know-it-all. We all know them, right? They come to the conversation. They have everything figured out. They have all the answers. They're closed-minded. When you're speaking with them, their eyes are kind of glazing over. They're already thinking about what they're going to say next or do next. On the other hand, and there's no room for growth, really. On the other hand, you have a learn-it-all. Somebody who's open, has a beginner's mind, realizes that they may not have all the answers, is humble, and really, I think, Trevor, what's important is curious to see what else is out there, what other possibilities exist. And I really, in my book, my little title thing says, great leaders aren't born, they're not made, they're in the making. I think that if you are a know-it-all, you stifle your growth, where great leaders realize they don't have all the answers and they got to continue learning and growing and adapting. And it's okay to be vulnerable and ask for help and advice at any stage of your career.
Mm-hmm. That's why I love this. That's why I love this podcast. Let me tell you why I love this podcast so much, because I am a young leader. Okay. I'm growing a team. I'm working with my team and stuff like that. And so I'm having to learn, I don't think leadership skills are just, you're like born with it. Maybe some people are, but I think you got to learn it. And so I get to learn from amazing people like yourself who have been there, done that. And I love asking the questions and getting the feedback so I can go try to take this back, to my team and apply it. And, but yeah, I'm always like, I know I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. And I know my leadership style is very direct. It's very no nonsense. It's very just, get it done. But I know that type of style is not always, it doesn't always work with everybody. And you've got to kind of adapt and pivot to who you're working with. So anyways, maybe you could speak to that, like different styles. Should a leader adjust their style depending on the person sitting across for them, or should they be who they are and, unapologetic?
I think there's a bunch of different leadership styles, and I don't necessarily think, we were talking backstage and you said that you're an introverted extrovert.
Yes.
I don't think that being a great leader requires you to be some like super charismatic, boisterous individual. There's all kinds of great leaders. I think that it's important for leaders to have their foundation and their style. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to treat every employee exactly the same. You should adapt and learn to be empathetic and work with different employees, but because different people have different strengths, and I think great leaders know how to learn what those strengths are and help pivot individuals in the direction that's going to give them the most opportunity for success.
That's so good. That's so good. Let me tell you why that's so good. So I'm going to actually be doing a coaching call with my team today, and I want to lean into their strengths.
Do I get a mic drop on that one?
Yeah, you do. Hold on.
I got to practice. I was trying to see how many mic drops I can get.
Hold on. Yes, I'm actually going to use that today as I talk with my team. I'm going to lean into their strengths and find out, because it is important. Like, okay,
yeah,
it's important for the audience listening too. It's important to ask people what they think your gift is, your strength, your superpower. What is it? Okay. Because what you think it is and what the outside world thinks it is may not be aligned. And they may shine a light on a gift that you have that you don't even, or you're not even aware exists. It's lying dormant within you, or you don't even know it exists. So you haven't been feeding it. Right. And so it's important to ask people, hey, what do you think my gift is? What do you think my superpower is? What do you think my strength is? And so today with my team, because you brought that up, that's such a great point. I'm going to be bringing that up. We're going to shine a light on some gifts today that they have and some strengths that they have. And I'm going to figure out how I can feed their strengths. And so that's so good. I love that. I love that.
And I think I prefer to focus on individual strengths and invest in improving those than weaknesses. Sure, help out on weaknesses, but I really believe that you get a lot more bang for your buck if you focus people and help them with their strengths. In throughout the years at Learnit, we have about 75 employees right now. I've always, we've had a lot of individuals who have gone from, they start off in sales, but they end up as an instructor. They are in marketing, and then they go to becoming an instructor. And again, it kind of goes back to understanding what are you good at. I mean, first of all, they have to fit the culture you want, right? You don't just keep moving people around just to move them around. If they're not a fit, then you got to let them go. But if it's somebody who's a great culture fit for you, then get curious, see what those strengths are, and try to put them, like we were just talking about, Trevor. Focus on what can help them thrive at your organization.
Absolutely. I agree with that. So, okay, my next question I want to pivot to real quick. It's a little bit different, but it's about imposter syndrome, right? It's kind of a buzzword. A lot of people talk about imposter syndrome. It's a common challenge, right? And even with leaders and even accomplished leaders, myself included, the other day, I'm not even going to lie, I had the enemy attacking me, okay? Talking about, you ain't real. You ain't the real deal. Okay. I had a little bit of imposter syndrome going on myself. Okay. I'm not going to lie. Can you share, you have a 3-step approach to how leaders can overcome this. Can you talk to us about how we do that and build some confidence within ourselves to say, yes, I can do this?
And you mentioned, how leaders can overcome this. Now, my definition to start off with, as far as leaders, we all are leaders. We all have the opportunity. Leadership starts with self-leadership. So you don't need to manage a team of 10 or a team of 100. To me, the definition of leader is somebody who takes accountability, sets examples, and does the right thing and continues to learn and grow. And so, I don't want your audience or anybody out there to think, well, I'm not a leader. I don't lead a team. So, but yes, you can be. You could be a leader at home. You could be a leader in the classroom. You could be a leader everywhere. Now, getting back to your question about my 3-step approach, I think everybody deals with imposter syndrome. And those who tell you that they don't have imposter syndrome or the inner critic, well, I don't know if they're being honest. Step number 1 is really work hard. I'm not saying you need to work 10 to 14 hours a day, but nothing gets done without putting in the effort. You need to work hard, just like you've done your show for 6 years. That's hard work. Step number 2 is focus. It's like if I want to be a better speaker, and get out on stage, and I'm worried that I'm not going to be good enough at it, there's a lot of ways to procrastinate. I could work on a lot of different things that maybe are not as important, but this is important to me. I need to really put in the deliberate practice and focus. So that's number 2. Focus in, work hard. Step 1. Step number 2, focus. And then step 3 is, say it's giving a presentation that I'm really concerned about, and I'm going to be in a room with a bunch of senior executives, and they're going to think, oh, this guy, But if I put in the hard work and I really focus in on what I wanted to do, when it's game time, Trevor, you got to learn and let go. Just go in there. It's not time to think about your technique. It's not time to think about your script. It's not time to think about anything. Just give it your best shot and go for it. You might do a great job. You might do a poor job, but you could learn from that, and what I think happens sometimes too, in myself especially, is we beat ourselves up so much. Oh, I didn't do this right. I could have done this better. When what I think we should be doing, and I'm trying to get better at for myself, is kind of celebrate, the good things that I did do. And the fact that, hey, I actually stuck my neck out there, or whoever it is, interviewed for this job. Maybe you didn't think you're qualified. Maybe you didn't think you hit all the requirements for your job, but you took the interview anyways, which you absolutely should, listeners. For somebody who's interviewed 1,000 people, a lot of times the qualifications that we ask for, I get somebody on a call and they're a fantastic candidate, but at least, you go to that interview and you've prepared for it, you've really focused on it, and however it goes, give yourself a little credit and celebrate that, and learn what you could do differently and move on. So that's really my 3-step approach that I've worked with mentees over the years, and
I love
really
that.
helped me. It's really helped me.
I love that. I remember it reminds me of a story. So a few years back, it was actually my first time being on a big stage. And so, but the interesting part was I got asked to MC the conference. And I told the guy immediately, I just said, yes, number 1, yes, let's go.
Yes,
but I also told him, I said, hey, I just want you to be aware, I haven't done that before. Okay. This is new for me. So just so you know, but yes is your answer. I want to do it. And so I did a lot of preparation. I mean, it haunted me probably for probably 4 or 5 months prior to. I mean, I was all in my own head about it. I was I lost sleep over it, seriously, because I had anxiety, and it was, man, and the nerves, right? But I was still committed to it, and I leaned on some people that I know who are professional MCs. Had many calls with them. Watched and prepared. I watched YouTube videos about people that have done it and watch them do it and all that kind of stuff. So preparation, the work hard, like you were talking about. And man, I tell you what, when I got up there, I was terrified. Okay. But that only lasted for 30 seconds. And then I'm just full of adrenaline, full of momentum. The preparation kicked in. Okay. And people had no idea. They were like, dude, I love you, man. It's freaking awesome. You know what I mean? And so what I think is important too, somebody told me this, Rachel Drunkenmiller, she has this quote, an invitation is an indication of a qualification, she says. Okay. And I thought that was so important because that invite that I got was somebody seeing a gift in me. They saw me probably doing this show or whatever, and they're like, dude, I want you to MC my conference, right? They saw something in me that I didn't know was there, right? Yeah. So And again, an invitation is an indication of a qualification. So I might have had imposter syndrome thinking, dude, I've never done this before, but they saw it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you stuck your neck out there and said, yes, I'll do it. And that is so key. And if it's, I'm not saying to say yes to everything because your time is important, but if it's something that you want to get better at, just look, real growth, in my opinion, and I think a lot of great leaders will tell you, real growth doesn't happen unless you get out of your comfort zone.
100%.
If you're just going to stay in your comfort zone and doing, you're never, you're not going to get it right 100% of the time, or maybe even 75% of the time. But yes, I've been in a similar situation. I got an opportunity to go speak at the Naval Academy for this group last year, and I was like, how, but I said yes. And I figured it out, and I did a really good job. Similar to you, it's you say yes, and then you put, like I said at the beginning of our conversation, just work hard. Put that, and do the best you can do. And it's true. It's like the adrenaline kicks in, and all you can do is your best. We're human, right? Yep. So we're human, and if we put in the work, the preparation, and continue to want to learn and evolve, and like I call in my book, be a learn it all. I think it will work out. You'll continue to evolve, and
you'll learn. So I learned through that experience. I learned, hey, I could have done it this way, could have done it that way. Here's what I could have done differently. Things like that. Because there's nothing like being in it. You can prepare all you want. Okay, that's the thing too. You can prepare all you want, but until you get in there, okay. Listen, it's like these football players out here. They prepare all day long. Right? They're practicing all day long. But when you're in the game, and the game's live, right? Sometimes you just get sacked and you fumble the ball, like things happen, and you just got to keep going though. You're not worried about the last play, right? You're not sitting there stressing over who fumbled the ball. Like it's time to, it's the next down. Let's go.
One of the things, I'm with you. One of the things that, it's like in baseball. If you're doing great until you get a 2-0 chase a 2-0 slider in the dirt. You can't let that get in your head. You got to get reset. One of the things I tell new employees or individuals that I bring on is you can't be afraid to make mistakes and try things. The last thing I want are people who join my company and they're on a railroad track and all they want to do is the same thing all the time. I don't want you. Don't be afraid to break some stuff. Let's try things. There's nothing you're going to do unless you do something illegal or terrible, right?
Yeah, don't do immoral stuff, right?
No immoral stuff. Don't put your teammates in bad positions. Sure. Have integrity. Do the right thing, but try things. I don't want. I love it when employees will come to me or go to their manager and they'll say, I probably should have asked you about this, but I went out on a limb and I did this for our customer, or I tried this. I'm like, great, good.
Absolutely.
Try things.
Yeah. If someone comes to you from your team and they say, hey, Trevor, I made a mistake, man, I messed up. And you're like, what'd you do? And they're like, well, this is what I was doing. I was trying to do this and that. And it just bop, 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 and it fell apart, fell through the cracks, whatever. Cool, man. It's like a kid. When a kid comes over to you and they tell you they made a mistake, they're like, hey, I messed up. I did this and did this and did this. You're not like mad at the kid. I want the accountability. Number one, if they come and tell me that, hey, man, I messed up.
Absolutely.
And they tell me why and what was the purpose and what's going on. And it's like, hey, you were trying. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm going to say, what did you learn? What could we have done differently?
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. I got a similar story. We have a big YouTube channel. We have about 650,000 followers, and we were recording something that I was on for about 90 minutes. And I got a great media team, 3 gentlemen, and they recorded this. And then afterwards, the media guy came on. Well, we met the next day, and he's like, "Hey, Damon, I really messed up. I didn't record. It didn't record correctly, or something happened.
Technical glitch.
technically, but he could have blamed it on the software. He could have blamed it on anything, but he took ownership of his mistake. And he's like, this is what I should have done differently. And he's like, we're going to come up with a solution to fix it. So he came up with a workaround. Now, as a leader, if you jump all over their back and get upset with them, well, guess what? People are going to start passing the blame elsewhere, and they're not going to want to take accountability. But I appreciate, and I think that that's something that, I've learned over time, because, as a younger leader, of course I get frustrated, but now it's like, because I was thinking, first thing that came to my mind is like, I just wasted 90 minutes of my time,
Right.
But took a deep breath, heard him out, what we could learn to do differently, and he found a solution. But I really appreciate that gentleman had the, he had the courage, so to speak, or he felt comfortable enough to come to me and say, I messed this up. But let's figure this out. Let's get this right next time. And that's what I think is so great about surrounding yourself with great talent, is that they're able to do that and continue to develop and evolve.
Well, let's dive into accountability for a second, because I think this is a trait that a lot of people are missing nowadays. Like, I don't know what it is with our culture, society, whatever, but it seems like we just want to point the finger and we want to live in almost like a victim mentality. And it's like, it's not my fault, it's they did it. It's like always finding, we never want to take a fault, right? But I feel like, for me, I feel like accountability is a superpower. It's actually one that I have because I did grow up with the victim mentality. I had a very, very kind of like chaos childhood, and I blamed everybody but myself, right? And when I changed my life and I transformed my life, turned it around, I recognized that accountability is a superpower. And it's like, no, I was, yes, there were external circumstances going on in my life. There was a lot of chaos, but I was still in all those decisions, right? I still made a lot of mistakes. And so taking accountability for that is how you grow. But talk to me about that. Like, why do you think our society right now, what is it about our society where it's like, nope, not my fault, it's their fault, they did it?
Gosh, that's a tough question. I mean, I don't know exactly why that happens. I think it's some people like to blame the younger generations, which I don't think that's as being less accountable. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think it's across the board. I think a lot of times it comes down to leadership and leadership that individuals, that you see out in the news, and how, some of the most important leaders in the world, business, politicians, pass the buck and pass the blame. And so maybe that happens. But, Trevor, I also think a lot of it starts sometimes even too at home, what you learn at home. But I personally think that it's this thing right here, this smartphone. Okay. I think this is a big reason. That's what I'm talking about. The younger generations, everybody's stuck looking at the phone.
Well, I think it's like, with social media, okay, we all have a microphone now. Okay. We all have a platform now, or we feel like we do. Even if you're just, John, Joe Schmo, and you're just posting, especially if you don't have a lot going on in your life. Right. If you don't have anything to lose, man, those people will troll you. Okay. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm talking about? Well, and so we all have this microphone. We feel entitled. People feel like real entitled. And you know what? I catch myself sometimes. Okay. I catch myself sometimes where something's going bad or not to my liking, and I find myself getting that like entitlement feeling, or how could you, like you get a lot of that. Like I had an experience. It was at Best Buy. Someone went sideways at Best Buy, and I just remember being like, let me talk to your manager. I like totally, I don't know, like I thought about it afterwards. And again, accountability. I went out to my truck after I left, and I was like, oh my God, what a douche magoosh I was. Like I was so entitled. Yeah. I felt so entitled. And I think a lot of, again, it comes from I don't know. I'm just trying to figure that out. Where does that come from with our society? Like, as I see a lot of people.
At least you caught yourself on it. At least you
I did. I went back in and apologized. You know, like yeah,
good.
yeah, I did. Because I was like, you know what? No matter the circumstance, they were wrong. Let me put it to you that way. They were wrong in what happened. I don't need to go in the whole story, but they were wrong. But it doesn't matter. They didn't deserve for me to get so flustered about it and so like, like, and I was like, nobody deserves to be talked to that way. I talked to her a little bit crazy. Okay. That was wrong. And I went back in and I was like, look, I apologize. This happened, that happened, but it's no excuse. So I just want to tell you that I apologize. Oh, they were super appreciative of it, super appreciative. And I'm like, I'm sure you probably get this all day long. And I just don't want to contribute to that. It's like, people get so triggered nowadays. And I did in that moment, I got triggered. Yeah. People get triggered, you get their order wrong at the drive-thru or whatever. They're, how dare you, I said no mayonnaise.
No, I know. I mean, I really try to do my best. Everybody has their instances, but you got to have some empathy as well. It's those people probably get hammered all day long.
Yeah.
Going through the McDonald's drive-through, all they're trying to do, so you got to have
do their job.
They're just trying to get it, take care of their family, right? And you just got to have a little empathy. But I mean, nobody's perfect. I think it's great that you went back and apologized.
Yeah, I mean, again, accountability is something that I try to practice as much as I can, because I am not perfect. I have so many flaws, and but that's the way you improve. You can't improve your life if you're constantly blaming other people for what's happening within it. No, you've got to take accountability and say, no, what was my role in it? Like in that particular situation, yeah, they were wrong in some certain things, but so was I. I was wrong in some certain things too. So what was my role in it, and how could I improve it? How could I do it better next time? And you're never going to get there if you're blaming other people.
So a little for your audience who's out there interviewing, a little trick, which is pretty common, maybe not a trick, but when we're interviewing somebody and we're kind of having them go through their resume and talk about their jobs, and if it's a common pattern that every time they left an organization, it was because they had a terrible boss, or this happened to them, or this situation, I got let go because I had a terrible boss, or I got a new job and this failed because a person on my team didn't help. And there's a common pattern. Trevor, a lot of times you think in your mind, it's like, okay, well, is it all these people, or is it the individual sitting right in front of me who's playing the victim at 4 jobs in a row? I mean, it's a common theme.
Absolutely.
Instead of saying, hey, I got let go, I probably could have done a better job. I probably could have taken some more advice, or I could have made an extra 15, 20 calls a day. But it was a great learning lesson for me. And here's what I learned at this opportunity. And I moved on in my next job, and I applied what I learned.
100%. I'm going to give you a mic drop for that too, because good, I see that all the time. Okay. Yeah. So for y'all job seekers that are listening, that are tuning in, okay, listen, like, take accountability. It's so important, right? Yes, you may have had a bad boss. Yes, you may have had a bad experience. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was in the auto industry, I was selling cars. Listen, I deserved to be promoted. Okay. I was the best. I was the top producer. I was crushing it. Okay. I needed that role. I needed that position, but I was also young and arrogant. And again, as I'm saying it, I deserved that position, right? That's an arrogant statement, but that was my mindset at the time. Like, no, give me the opportunity. Give me the ball. Right.
Right.
I was like a young Des Bryant saying, give me the ball. Let me show you what I can do with it. Right. But again, there was arrogance in that. There was too much cockiness in that. There was too much, like, it just didn't, they didn't see it in me, right? They were like, this guy is probably not the best fit. He's too young. He's not grown up enough. And they were probably right. Shoot, they were probably right. And so I have to look back at that scenario and say, you know what? What was my role in it?
Right.
Yes,
Totally.
they should have gave me the opportunity. I still believe that they should have gave me the opportunity. But however, forget all of that. Forget all that. I could have tempered myself, and I could have humbled myself.
Mhm.
Okay, there's a million things I could have done differently, right? And maybe they would have given me the opportunity had I humbled myself. But because I was the top producer and I was crushing and I was like, I got arrogant.
Yep.
I was too cocky, and it just didn't fit well with the GM there. The GM did not like me. He didn't like me, so he's not going to promote me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so there you go. I mean, you have to look at your scenarios, and you can't just always point the finger at everyone else. You got to take some ownership of what was your role in it, because it's your life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Totally.
all right, tell us about, okay, your learning and development company, Learnit. All right, tell me about the company and then the impact it's had on some individuals, some organizations. I know you talked about 1.9 million people you've helped and things like that, but tell us a little bit more about the company.
So Learnit, we're headquartered out of San Francisco, and also something we spoke about beforehand about how you pivoted from in-person to virtual. We did a really good job of that too. Prior to the pandemic, about 30% of our business was virtual. Now I would say about 90% is. Typically, companies turn to us when they're looking to promote new managers, and they need a skill set to become better managers. If their team is struggling with communication challenges and performance challenges, we work with them to build training programs. We also do a lot of like Microsoft Office, Excel training. And just like you have your free 99, any of your listeners, if they want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, send me a message. I'll send you a free class, a free live class. It's worth $250. You could take a class in Excel. You could take a class in emotional intelligence, whatever we have on our Learnit site. And that's been really cool, Trevor, over the years, is sitting down with these leaders in their organizations and hearing not always just like what their pain points are or their challenges, but like what are their goals? What do they want to aspire to be? A lot of them want to truly build a learn it all type organization where individuals are always learning to innovate and be creative and grow. And we try to support them through that, through mostly our virtual instructor-led training classes that we do. So it's been a really fun and unique situation working with all these different companies who have different perspectives on leadership and different challenges, and it's been a lot of fun.
So the classes that you were just talking about that they could take, are all of those online classes, or did you at one point ever have in-person classes, and then was it the pandemic you shifted online, or has it always been online?
No, it's always pre-pandemic. It was about 70% in person. So
okay,
we had a big 12,000 square foot location in San Francisco. We had one in New York and in all these different places. And that was one thing that was great about the pandemic is, and there's not a lot great about the pandemic, but people got used to learning and learning soft skills, which I don't like that term, but learning how to take classes and learn that way. And so we never really went back to opening up these locations. Sure, we have one of our big clients has a conference in Las Vegas this past week, and so we have instructors there doing breakouts and workshops, but the majority of it is in person. Is virtual, and we have a library of on-demand videos as well, both on our YouTube page and what our customers use. But the vast majority of it is over Zoom, where you get 15, 20 people in the class with breakout rooms and really learn how to get better at conflict or coaching, running one-on-ones, performance management, or like I said, every week Microsoft Excel sells out. So how to build a pivot table.
So, and they can find all this at learnit.com. Is that what it is?
Yes. Our company website is learnit.com.
Okay.
But hit me up and ask for a free class. Trevor, I love, and I've heard you talk about this on others. I love helping people. I want to help people. And, the individuals who are listening to your show obviously believe and want to improve in their career. let me do my little part and give you a couple classes. All I ask is if you sign up for a class, show up, participate, and then send me a message. Send me a message. Let me know what went well. We're always looking to learn and get better. And so if you say, hey, Damon, I thought this class was great, but, this instructor was, could have introduced this way, or we're always looking for constructive feedback to help improve the experience of what we do. So,
and that's fair. I mean, think about that. That is so fair. Like, think about it. You're going to get a $250 class for free. And all he's asking for is feedback. How can they improve? How cool is that?
Show up. First, show up.
Well, show up. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. Cause you know what? The more you pay, the more you pay attention. So if it's free 99, we see, our summit is free, right? So people go through that and we see about a 50% show up ratio. It's online. It's too easy not to sometimes.
No skin in the game sometimes.
No skin in the game. Exactly. And make sure, guys, he's giving you something of value, a true value, $250 value. Okay. Make sure you show up. Okay. So first of all, he wants you to connect with him on LinkedIn. So you're going to build your network. You're going to connect, build relationship. He's going to help you, support you, all that good stuff. Connect with him on LinkedIn. Okay. And then, get plugged in with their platform. And then I have an ask for you. My ask is that you go on to their YouTube page. Okay. He said he's got a big old, 600,000 or something like that. He's a big old thing right over there going on.
650,000.
Yeah. Let's go support that YouTube channel. Tell us what are a couple things real quick that they can expect to see on that page.
Well, on the YouTube channel, what's really popular are we have our full length courses, mostly our technical courses, our Excel, PowerPoint, Tableau, Power BI, Python. So those are all that content is there for free. I mean, it has ads on it, of course. And then you'll also see, we have our the Learn It All podcast, and you'll see the different episodes of other great leaders and a lot of great leaders who've been on that show. But the key target audience for our YouTube channel is around our technical skills. So we're one of the top, we're a YouTube silver partner, and there's a lot of great content out there.
That's amazing. Y'all go check out that YouTube page. Okay. Make sure you subscribe.
Learn it anytime. Learn it anytime. Yeah.
Learn it anytime. And make sure you go do that. Damon, I just want to say thank you so much. It's been a pleasure meeting you and learning about what you guys do and the impact that you guys are having. Thank you for being on our 6th year anniversary show. Okay. And for those of you that are tuning in on the podcast and tuning in online, guys, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. This is 6 years in. 6 years in.
Awesome.
Okay. We've done like 600 episodes, something like that, some crazy amount. Right. But I'm excited to share the stage with you, Damon, for our 6th year anniversary. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate you so much.
You too.
All right, guys. Damon, hang tight. But guys, that's the show. It's all about who you know. Bye.